Hey guys, it's Abby here, and I hope you guys have had a great Wednesday. We're here to eat. I'm just letting everybody kind of jump in here and join the conversation. And I'm trying to pull up chat. Here we go. Hey everyone, it's Abby here at High Five Practice, and I'm excited to bring this segment where we get to eat together every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Central Time. Where when I say eat though, it's a little different. I mean, not necessarily food. In case you guys didn't get a tune in last week, we talked about eating as in E.A.T, and that's educate, automate, and target. You're going to hear me say that a lot. That is our lifetime patient formula. We truly see the value in eating as far as educate, automate, and target. That's where we've seen a lot of our results. But by all means, I know it's lunchtime, so I totally understand if you guys are actually eating. I hope you're enjoying your food, whether that's some Jimmy John's like I had last week, or maybe a smoothie, or a sandwich, or a steak if you're getting crazy. But yeah, go ahead and eat while I fill you up with some knowledge. I want to let you guys know about next week. I'm going to be joining Jordan Comstock with Boom Cloud, which I'm really excited about. We're going to talk about how to generate recurring revenue so you can go to the beach. You will need to register for that, so it won't be on here, Facebook Live. That is something you will want to register for, and it's actually in our previous post on this Facebook page if you're on Facebook. So you can register that way, and I can add a link after this as well so you guys can register. But just know, next week will not be live. You will need to register for it, and it is totally worth it. We're going to break down all kinds of information as far as membership plans and then also how to promote it. And like I said, be able to go to the beach and chill and not have to worry about the practice running on itself or generating revenue while you're out. But that's next week. Today, I want to dive more into nurturing your current patients. So while new patients are really, really important, sometimes it gets lost in the focus on the patients that you currently have. So I want to talk about that today. And by all means, if you guys have any questions or if you have any concerns that always pop up as far as your current patients and how to communicate to them, I'd love for you to chat along, and I'll be happy to watch that and make sure I answer those questions. But like I said, new patients, there's always so much pressure on new patients and making sure we generate new. It is very important, obviously, to have new patients in order to bring in, to be able to propose more treatment, to get a treatment accepted. But we don't want to lose the value of your current patients. They are the ones that are already loyal to your practice. You've already done the hard work to get them into the front door. Now it's just taking care of them, educating them, and making sure that it's easy for them to continue to come to your practice moving forward. And they become loyal advocates of your practice. And what I mean by this is I'm going to bring home some big old stats for you guys, because this is really, I know it's said, but I feel like it's lost a lot. A lot of people really don't pay attention to their current patients and make it really easy for them to act. So Harvard Business Review did a study, and acquiring a new customer is anywhere from 5 to 25 times more expensive. And that always blows my mind. So again, acquiring a new patient is 5 to 25 times more expensive than just retaining your current patients. Another one that blows my mind is in that same study, it talks about increasing your retention rate by just 5%. By 5%, you can see 25 to 95% increase in your profits. And again, it's nurturing the current patients that you have. You put in the work to get them there. Don't neglect them. Make sure you know that. That is the average dentist, general dentist, keeps only 4 out of 10 new patients. 10 out of or 4 out of 10. That's great. That's 40% of your current patients. And again, you've put the hard work in to get them in, but if you're not paying attention to them, if you're not educating them on opportunities that your practice provides them with, you could lose them out the back door. And that's where we want you to be paying attention to. And then the last one, and then I'll be all statted out. Not really. I've got all kinds. You are 14 times more likely to get an existing patient to come back than trying to get a brand new a brand new patient. And it all comes down to, there's going to be a lot of different marketing efforts that you're going to put into place. And of course, like I said, you want to be generating new patients. But it's so easy to take care of the patients you currently have and make sure that they are set for success, and make sure that they're aware of everything that your practice offers. Other practices are marketing, and you know this, just as much as you are marketing. So if you aren't saying, like, if you're not promoting you have a membership plan, or you're not promoting that you do have same-day crowns, these are things that patients are looking for nowadays because they're smarter than ever. They have all the information that they need at their fingertips, and they're looking for specific amenities that practices are offering. If you're not promoting that, they could have another practice that is promoting it and go to them just because they think that they do it and you don't. It always breaks my heart when a practice comes to us before they're a client and they talk about how I do dental implants. And I just had my patient come to me and they were so excited because they just went down the road and got a dental implant. Of course, I was happy for them. They finally got the smile that they want, but I could have done that. I could have generated that revenue, and I could have kept them all under one roof. Things like that you will miss out on with your current patients if you're not educating them properly, and if you're not making it easy for them to act and know what you offer. So, how you're going to make patients for life, again, as we talk about Let's Eat with Abbey, we're talking about educate, automate, and target. But I want to break that down a little bit more as far as how to get patients for life, whether that's just communications in person or online. So first things first, you have to provide an unmatched experience to your patients every time. Every time your patient walks in the door, you need to make sure you are the constant that they can expect. So when they are visiting you, you want to greet them with a smile. I mean, this is basic information, but you want to greet them with a smile. You want to make it easy for them to fill out their paperwork. You want to make it effective for them to come back. 80% of customers are more likely to convert from a brand that provides personalized experiences. So I'm not just talking about online, I'm also talking about in the office. I don't know if you guys are familiar. There's a book I'm reading right now, Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he talks about at any point with a habit, if there's any friction, then they'll stop the habit. And that's a good or a bad thing, right? If you don't want to do it, if it's a bad habit and you don't want to do it any longer, you'll create friction to make it harder to do that habit. Therefore, you no longer do it. But let's say you want to continue to have a good habit. So workout, for instance, if it's down the road or on your drive home to go to the gym, it's going to be easier for you to do it. There's less friction. Therefore, I'm more likely going to do it. Same with a dental appointment. People want to have good oral hygiene. They want to take care of their teeth. They want to have confident smile and they want to be healthy. So if you create any friction for them not to be able to execute on their appointment, or whether that's outside of the office or inside the office, you could be losing them. You could be creating a habit for them to push it off because they don't see the value or it's too complicated for them to do that. So make it easy for them. I always love for people to experience the patient journey themselves. If you were a patient at your own practice, what would your experience be like? How would you book an appointment? How would you come into the appointment? Did you Google yourself and get directions to get there? And when you got there, did you land on the right place? Did you make it into the door very easily? When you called to ask for patient forms or paperwork, was the phone correct? Was there accessible forms online for me to just fill out so I didn't have to sit there with a book of papers in the lobby filling everything out? And that was my first experience. Did I have a doctor greet me for the first time by actually sending me a video, right? Letting me know that they're happy and excited to see me. Did I get a welcome email at all? Did they send me a link with online forms? I encourage you to experience your own practice experience within your office, because that is powerful. And if there's any friction that you maybe hesitated on, should I continue to go or should I look for someone else? that's your sign. You need to make that really easy and eliminate that friction to have the best experience possible for your patients. And again, they've already made it to your office. So if you are making it hard for them, then you could lose them, and you already did all the hard work. And when I say make it easy as far as appointment reminders and making sure your Google listing is accurate or any kind of map listing, providing that welcome email if possible and letting them know that you are excited for them to come. Even there's so many different tools out there to make a video. You could do it on your cell phone. You could do it with, there's Loom, there's Vidyard. Jordan sent me one the other day. Man, Jordan, I forget what it is. Let me look it up. I have it. And I want to make sure. Bonjoro. That's another tool that you can use. You can send videos out to your patients and let them know that you're so excited to get to meet them. These are personal touches they will not forget you for. They will tell their friends about you because it just blew their minds that you were actually putting these little tweaks into their office to make it the best experience possible. Also, when you're thinking of these types of communications, you want to make sure that they're friendly and informative. Pay attention to the messaging that is going out to your current patients, whether that's a welcome, an appointment reminder, recall, treatment acceptance. All these types of communications you want to make sure are exuding your practice. So go in and read through it. And again, put on your patient hat and read through it as a patient. Does this make sense to me as a patient? Not as a provider, not as another team member that works in dental every day, but does the verbiage here, is it friendly? Is it engaging? Is it encouraging for me to actually do what you're asking me to do? And does it make sense? Is it relevant to me as a patient? This type of messaging makes a huge impact because if you're just sending them spam and you're just sending them information and it doesn't really correlate with the patient, you're not going to see results that way. You want to make it informative, friendly, and easy for them to go ahead and implement. You also, that's the messaging, but also consider personal touches in the office. I know when I go to my dentist, Dr. Angela Simpson, you're the best. I was with you this morning. When I go to her, they have my TV station on that I like. And I've been to practices before. They know your favorite smoothie and they give you smoothies. And there's different types of things that they already know about you, right? Like, oh, how's your brother? Or where are you living? Or what have you? They already know specific, how's your dog? There's details that they already pay attention to because they take notes, they understand, they take the time to get to know me. And those little personal touches in the experience, in that patient's experience, is going to help keep them for life. And not only having it when they're in the office, but highlighting that when they're not in the office. So letting them know, hey, we offer smoothies, or we offer paraffin wax, or did you know that we have headphones or TVs in every single operatory? These are great things that you're putting into the practice, but if you're not highlighting it, the patient may not know, especially if they haven't been there in a while. We all know the patients that have been there for over 2 years, and then they come back and they didn't realize they hadn't been there for 2 years. They thought it was a few months. They felt like they were just at the dentist. So we want to make sure that we're promoting those types of things that you've put into the practice because you put it there for a reason. And if they don't know it exists, then it misses the whole value as a whole. Tell them about it. Tell them why you do it. We want to make sure you have the best patient experience. So we offer A, B, and C. This type of touch points really will go above and beyond. And then when let's say they are looking for another dentist, or they may be targeted for an ad about another dentist, they're going to compare them to you and say, no, they don't do anything my dentist does. My dentist is the best. I'm not even going to think about it. And then you can keep the current ones that you currently have without always having to constantly focus on new patients, but nurturing the ones that you currently have. Also, you want to be messaging with email and text messages. I know I said as far as personality, you want to make sure that you're making it custom to you, making sure that you're accessible to the patient. 50% expect doctors send automated text, voice, and email reminders urging them to schedule. They're expecting it at this point. They're so used to everybody else. I know everybody from me getting my hair done, to vet appointments, to dental appointments, doctor appointments, you name it. They are texting me, reminding me, and thank God they do, because I would totally forget if they didn't. And not only are you saying that it's due for an appointment, but you're bringing value to why it's there, why I need to go, but also just making it easy. I'm busy. I have a lot going on as a patient. And if you think that's top of mind, it's not going to be until you are in my face saying like, hey, you're due for an appointment. Oh gosh, I better get something on the schedule. I'm going to click a link that's in the text and you're going to allow me to book an appointment really easily. Don't make it complicated. Again, you want to eliminate any friction. So look at that text as a patient, put your patient hat on, click on that link. Was it easy? And did it say exactly what you said? Don't have them say, oh, book an appointment now. You click on the link and then it goes to your homepage. Or it goes to a page where it's the request an appointment forms at the way bottom and I have to scroll there. You lost me. If I click on this link, whatever you said better be right in my face from there. But again, 57% expect you to be communicating to them that frequently. So don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to be texting them and communicating with them, emailing them, calling them. Depending on your communication software, you're even able to customize every patient's experience to the T. So if a patient complains about, hey, you're texting me too much, or I never check my emails, can you just not email me? Awesome. Yes, of course. I want to make sure you have the best experience possible. So how do you want me to communicate with you? I prefer phone calls. I prefer text messages. Go into their settings and adjust it for that specific patient. So you're not turning it off for your entire patient base. You're customizing every patient to have their own experience. They will never forget that. Not only did they ask you to do it, but then you did it and you let them know and you're like, hey, I just want, oh, that's above and beyond. You're going to keep me for life because you listened and you acted on it. And again, little touch points like that. So unmatched experience is very, very key when it comes to retaining your current patients, making sure they have their own personalized experience and they will never leave you. You will have them for life. Okay, so let's talk about, now that you have an unmatched experience, you experienced it yourself, let's talk about the other touch points that you can make as far as communication and transparency. More often than not, when a patient leaves you, it's because of confusion. It's because they didn't understand something, whether it was financials, whether it was what you proposed them, or they weren't seeing eye to eye of what you were recommending for them, or they might have had some friction with the team members, right? And you want to make sure you're getting the patients that you want more of. You want to make sure that patients that pay, that patients that show up to their appointments, that are referring, we want to attract more people like that. And in order to do that, you need to be very transparent and have an open communication with your patients, with your loyal patients. So talk about common concerns head on. Do not shy away from it. This is where in the E.A.T education comes in. You always know your top 5 concerns are going to be fear, time, authority, uncertainty, and financial. So why not address those head on to all of your patients? That is the educational element that we always do every other month. We send an educational email to combat those barriers and make it easy for patients to act. But we're not shying away from it. We're making sure that any concerns that they may have, they're not just sitting on and thinking about it. We're addressing it. So an example is we had some of our practices during COVID implement a PPE charge. And what that was obviously to pay for more PPE equipment and make sure that the practice was covered. So instead of just upcharging the practices, we sent an email out to the patients letting them know, hey, you're going to see a $15 charge on your next payment. This is why. We're keeping you safe. We've invested in all of these new things in order to keep you safe. And we've done this for you. As soon as we can take this price off, we will. And know that we don't want to make this charge. But we have been investing in a lot of different equipment, and this is where it comes into play. We didn't shy away from it. We didn't just charge them and say, yep, is what it is, pay the $15. When we heard that, there were some patients leaving the practices when that was happening, when there was no communication about what was going on at all. When we sent out the email, we had one practice generate 100 visits that were not on the calendar at that time, just because we let them know they're going to get a PPE charge. We will try to remove this as soon as possible. We love you guys. We're keeping you safe. Here, we'll get rid of this as soon as possible. it's clear communication. You didn't leave any questioning up on the table. You opened that avenue of communication if they wanted to ask more questions. You didn't just charge them and blindside them. Because remember, you are living your practice in dental every single day. These practices or these patients are living their lives every single day, whether it's about their kids, their family, school, their jobs, traveling, what have you. They're focused on all their different lives as well. So you have to make sure that you hone them in on what you're doing and not blindside them. I have another stat for you. Yay. And I'm getting these stats, by the way, there's Harvard Business Review, Next Health, and Patient Pop all had these studies in their articles. So I want to make sure that I quote that too. But yes, 59% of patients, I'm trying to pull it up, 59% of adults would go without dental care because of cost. 59%. And 65% of patients say transparency about cost of healthcare services is critically or very important to their overall satisfaction. And you guys know this, right? You know those majority of patients are always asking questions about financial. They left you because they were confused with financial. You made the claim into insurance. They thought it was going to be more. They thought it was going to be less. Insurance didn't cover as much as you were expecting. They're mad at you. They leave. We all know the story. But if you communicate them front to end, hey, this may happen. Right now, we're estimating this price. We're going to try to get it at this price, but we only have so much control. But if it doesn't, we do offer other financial opportunities. We have care credit. We have an in-office membership plan if you don't want to worry about insurance. We have whatever that, maybe it's Lending Tree or Lending Club or any of these other opportunity avenues to make sure that you're covered so finances aren't holding you back to have the smile that you want and the health that you deserve. So communicating those types of things, again, 59% of adults would go without dental care because of cost. That is crazy because if they're not getting dental care because it's not because of cost, it's because of the education behind cost. It's because they don't know what to expect. They are terrified to get in that chair and know what that bill is going to be afterwards. Or you're painting this picture of that dream smile that they want and they've been yearning for a long time. And they're afraid to say, well, how much is that going to cost? Or is it stupid for me to ask how much is it going to cost because I need to do this, obviously, otherwise it's going to get worse. But can I trust you? Am I sure that that's where the direction that I want to go down? Should I put my money somewhere else? How can I get? These are all questions they're battling in their head. And depending on their personality, they're saying it out loud or they're not. They might be embodying all this and just waiting to get out of that chair and they're more and more uncomfortable. Or they're not even bringing up the conversations because they're unsure of cost is the barrier. They don't even want to bring it up because they don't even want to know. They assume already they can't afford it and that it's too expensive. So be transparent, communicate, and discuss these hard, difficult issues. And even having questions and answers for all of your team members to have the same responses is very, very beneficial. If you guys have some kind of Q&A available, whether that's digitally or it's printed out somewhere, or if you have a manual and it's in there, it's always great to have that memorized so you are all consistent with what's being said. If they ask certain questions about certain things, make sure everybody has a solution because they might just trust somebody else on the team or feel more trustworthy to comfortable to ask somebody else. And you want to make sure your team is consistent with what they're saying and making sure that they are set for success. And as long as a conversation is being brought up, that's all that actually matters at the end of the day. But don't make that be the barrier to your practice. Don't allow that to be the barrier for patients to stay with you. Most often than none, it could just be the other practice that they left you for just communicated about financial options better. They just had more available, whether it was a website that communicated that. Maybe again, they had a script that they knew exactly what to say, or they were able to direct them to the right place on their website or send them an email with those common FAQs. Those resources could be the make or break for a patient to stay with you or leave you for somebody else that is doing those type of communications. We always like to send out a financial options, FAQs type of email And then also have little blurbs at the bottom of other emails. So for instance, the common questions you get every day. And if you're not sure, ask your front, because those girls do know, or guys do know, what those questions are always asked. Have them drafted up in an email, ask the questions, have the answer, make it friendly, make it fit your practice, make sure it's custom, and then send it out to all your patients. Let them know, hey, I'm not sure if you are aware, but these are the common questions a lot of people are asking. We wanted to make sure you all had answers to it. They might be curious about that question. And for one, they didn't even know they were curious about that question. They see it and they're like, oh, that's a great question. And there's my answer. Thank you. Or they may have been sitting on a question for a while, and every time they're coming to the practice, they're building up the courage. I just need to ask them. I need to ask them, but they never do. And then maybe you just answered it right there in that email and eliminated that barrier, and that trust is stronger than ever. And they're going to continue to come to you. And guess what? Now they're going to say, oh, other patients are asking this. I shouldn't feel stupid about asking that. So I'm going to actually talk about it on my next appointment. I'm going to make sure, or heck, I'm going to call them right now and I'm going to talk through it with them and make sure that makes sense for me, that is an option for me. You will stand out compared to other practices forever for that patient. There's also fear we talk about, as far as there's bad experiences with practices that people may have, or it's the sound of the tools, the smell of the office, letting them know that you are combating those fears and letting them know, hey, we actually have the walls, our colors of the walls in the office are painted to specifically keep you calm. And we have aromatherapy all over the office with lavender to make sure that you're at ease. And we have sedation available. If it's too much, we totally understand and we can make you feel calm during your experience. Again, communicating these features to the patients, they may not have known to ask the right questions in order to know that you have those types of services. And usually you can see the fear when they're in the office, right? Maybe they may not communicate it, but their general tone of how they're carrying themselves, that they're scared or not. And you can offer that. But it's so great to really educate them. And maybe it was just a hygiene appointment and their fear didn't show. And then once you want to do treatment, it's all over the map. So then at that point, if you're communicating and educating them on opportunities that you do in the office for them to feel at ease, they'll be more aware of the amenities that you're providing for them. Another fear is going to be your time. How long is this going to take? How long can I expect to be at the office? 53.2% of patients say being aware of appointment length ahead of time would change their attitude about the appointment. Most of you know your new patient block. You know how long you want them in, how much time is blocked. I shouldn't say most of you, all of you know the block time that you have for that new patient and how much time you want to spend with them and what you want to do during that appointment. Tell them. Be completely transparent on what they can expect. That also holds you accountable to make sure you're doing everything that you want to do for their first appointment. But also just saying, hey, we estimate a 2-hour time because we want to get to know you really well. In that 2-hour time, we're going to give you a tour of the office. You're going to meet doc. You're going to meet your hygienist. Hygiene is going to go over your x-rays. They're going to make sure you're healthy. They're going to clean your teeth so you feel amazing when you leave. Doctor's going to go over the x-rays with you. All of this is it seems so like, oh, it's obvious. It's not obvious to everyday patients. So communicating to them what exactly to expect will set them up for success because they're not wondering. They're not scared about it. They're just ready to, oh, I'm prepared. I got my patient forms filled out. You sent me the link. I filled it out online. Now I've already taken care of that. My wait time has gone down. I now know that I'm going to get a tour of the office. I'm going to smoothie. Then I'm going to get sat in my chair. I got to meet the doc. They're expecting it. And this just helps build that excitement for them with your practice. And again, if something I get it. Sometimes some things happen. Someone showed up late. It goes into the new patient time in an hour and 45 minutes or an hour and a half, right? Communicate this with the patient when it's necessary. Obviously, there's some things that the hygiene can do and can take up that time while the doctor gets in the operatory and meets with them. But even saying while they're in the lobby, hey, we had someone run behind, we're going to make sure to take care of you. We're projecting for about 15 minutes. If you're just letting them sit and spew and look at the time and just count down the minutes of how late you are, and I showed up on time, why am I not in my chair? You want to make sure these moments are being very transparent of what's going on to set proper expectations. By not saying anything, you're saying a lot. So make sure you're communicating what's going on, what they can expect. Hey, we're a little behind. We're going to get you in that chair and we're going to get you taken care of. I want to make sure when do you have to be out of here by? I'm going to respect that a lot more than just, oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Well, it's been 20 minutes. It's not fine. So making sure you're communicating what's going on in the appointment really helps that patient experience and for them to trust you because of your transparency. So again, if you are talking every step of the way with your patients and you're completely transparent, your patients will love you for it. And then, of course, there's authority and uncertainty. So let patients know you have worked hard, doc. You've gotten your accreditations. You have gone above and beyond to be with cosmetic dentistry, the AACD, AAID, whatever that may be. So, that rhymes. So you might as well brag about it. I know it's weird to brag about yourself, but the patients will love it because they'll respect you more for the authority and the time you put in. You might as well brag about that. Build the authority with your patients. And then uncertainty, make sure you're asking the right questions while you have them in the chair and while they're outside of the office. Ask them and nurture them with every question that you possibly can think of to make sure they're set for success and to eliminate barriers for them to accept treatment or even just to return back to your office. Also, something to consider is patient handoffs. When you are going from the front to the hygiene chair to the doctor's, I've already talked to the doctor. I've already talked to the hygienist. So make sure you're giving that proper handoff. So then when I love my dentist for this. She's always so great. She walks in and she's already telling me what Julie already told her, my hygienist, and they're communicating about, hey, we talked about this, this, and this, and it's in front of me. So I can make sure that, yeah, that's right. Julie's right. Everything I told her, she listened and now she's telling you and now doc's taking care of it. So having that handoff is very, very crucial to make sure that it's smooth, it's consistent, and it is timely so the patient feels like they're taken care of. Lastly, as far as transparency, I always encourage practices to do an end-of-year survey. So don't just ask about typical things like, if you could rate your experience with us, what would it be? Ask hard questions because you're not going to be able to eliminate those barriers with your practice. You're not going to be able to make that experience the best it can possibly be unless you're asking the hard questions. What are your main concerns when it comes to your dental care? Is it payment? Is it time? Is it fear? Ask that question head on. What do you think about our financial options? Do you feel like you have control over your payments when it comes to our dental care? Do you trust the proposed treatment that we have? If you tell them this is an anonymous survey, you can get actual feedback to help better your practice. And don't just take it and say, we appreciate you, and then throw it in the trash and never look at it. Look at it as a team. Get your whole team involved and break down the survey and say, hey, this is where a common concern was. This is where, even ask about team members. Have you always had a great experience with these hygienists and these assistants? Letting them know that they have full transparency with you opens up the door for them to continue that. And that's always great information for you to have the best experience possible. And of course, you're going to have outliers, right? You're going to have one person that thinks this and the majority doesn't. But the majority, when they agree on something else, maybe they talk about financial options. I never feel secure about my financial, when it comes to finances in my dental care. That's very interesting. It's very common across the board. Is there something that we don't offer at our office that we could? Is it our insurance? Is that we are a network with? Is it do we have care credit lending club? Do we have the savings plan? Asking the patients directly and instead of trying to assume is always going to be a lot more beneficial for your practice. And then you can actually feel more confident about it because they're part of it. They're part of your practice growth. They're part of their journey and they want to be there and encourage. It's just like a musician, right? When they ask, what single should I drop? Or what should the title of my album be? It's like if you're involved in some way, you feel part of that experience. And by involving your patients and letting them have control over the direction of your practice, that will just give them a lot of loyalty towards your practice. They will love you for that and they'll feel more engaged than ever just by a simple survey. So I always encourage that end of year, ask that, or even throughout the year. Absolutely, you can have that, but it's good to see all at once. It's good to see all of the results and how you can better that. I've even had some practices before they do online forms, which online forms is absolutely going to be the easiest way to do it, or online booking, right? Just asking before you implement any of those types of technologies into your office, see if it's even what your patients want. Sometimes practices assume it's what they want, and sometimes they assume it's not what they want. How do you know without asking? So put that in your survey and say, hey, we're thinking about implementing these new features. What would you like to see advance in part of our practice? And I bet you'd be surprised with the results. And it would make you feel more confident about making those investments. Okay, so we did talk about unmatched experience every single time with your patients in order to retain them and keep them for life. Communication and full transparency with your patients, make them build that relationship and trust you so they also stay with you for life. Now I want to talk about accessibility. You have to make it easy for them to act. They may love you and trust you, but if it's not easy for them, and you're complicating it, you could be putting that barrier in there. Or like we talked about earlier, you're adding friction to their experience, so then they don't actually act. So don't ask them to do something and then just leave them in the wind. Don't tell them that they have proposed treatment and give them a list of the treatment that they have proposed and not tell them what they need to do next, or make it easy for them to do next. Hey, you have proposed treatment. We're really excited to get started for you. Here's a button for you to click, and we can actually get you in for your crown. We can get you in for your next appointment. They click the button, it goes to that form, they fill out the form, and then your team is now notified that they have requested an appointment or booked it online, depending on the softwares that you have. Make it very easy for them to do what you want, because as long as you tell them what to do and you make it easy for them, they will do it. But it's just got to be easy. You want to make sure you're accessible in this as well. So now we are in the age of online. It is completely at the fingertips of the patients at this point. You guys know, have full control over a lot. And now there's more resources as far as online booking. 81% of patients would schedule their own appointment with secure web service. This is by Patient Pop. So this just shows that majority of patients now want to book on their own. I get sometimes there's hard, you don't want them to have control over your schedule. It's your schedule. You know exactly how long each procedure takes and how to buff it out. Totally makes sense. You could even go as far as just hygiene appointments, allowing patients to book those online. But just be more open to it, because again, it's that assuming this could be a great thing to ask in the survey. If you're thinking of going in that direction, patients may want it more than you know, and that could be the one barrier or the friction that's actually holding them back from making that appointment, because the other practice across the road does have online booking. They didn't have to talk to anybody. They were able to have full control over their appointment, and we are able to have full control over so many things. This is just one more thing for us to be able to book on our own. And it's less for you to do too. If they can block it, if you can organize it right with the online scheduler, then it takes a weight off of your team, and you guys can focus on getting those insurance claims and attracting new patients, or making their best experience possible when they actually come in for their appointment. So 81%. Keep that in mind and I know every practice is different. So just ask your patients and see what they come up with. That also leads to online forms. 68% of patients would most likely choose medical providers that offer the ability to book, change, or cancel appointments online. Texting makes this very, very accessible. So being able to send them on their appointment reminders, online forms through is key. So beneficial for patients and for you. You don't want to have to print off all these papers, have them do it. Now you have to type it in. Just have them fill it out online. It's cleaner. It's a better user experience. And it ports back all of your information most of the time to the management software. So you guys are more efficient that way. What's really great about it too is they don't have to sit in the lobby and do it. That helps with wait time. And wait time is always a barrier or friction that's happening with practices in the office. If you can eliminate that, get those records in on your time, it just gives you more control and it gives the patient more control as well. So again, 68% of patients would likely choose medical providers that offer the ability to book, change, or cancel appointments online. There's also the opportunity for online payments. A lot of softwares out there allow you to pay through texting. I would do that all day. I love PayPal. I love being able to just send somebody money virtually. It's amazing. So being able to do that same experience with your practice, you'll see collections rise because you're making it easy for the patients. You're making it easy for them to act. You're being accessible, and they will, again, love you for doing that. And don't just put these offerings in place and not celebrate them. Tell your patients you offer online booking. Tell your patients, hey, we have online forms. You can actually pay through text messages if you want to. Highlight these features so they're aware, and then that gets them more excited, like, wow, this practice has it all. Again, when they try to think of or consider leaving you and they see what the other practice offers, it won't be comparable because you've put everything in place to make it the best experience possible, and they'll appreciate you for it. Another thing to consider too is office hours. Are you accessible as far as their time schedule? Figure out that, you know your community. What area? Is it a working area? Is it a lot of, maybe it's stay-at-home parents, so you can have a more day schedule, or is it more of young adults and you want to have some kind of weekend opportunities or hours? So just figuring out, knowing your community. And that's another great question to ask in the survey. Do you think our hours are achievable to book appointments, or are we always available for you? And that's always an opportunity that a lot of practices do and see a lot of success for, as far as weekend or Fridays. But I get it. Who wants to work on a Friday if you don't have to? It's nice to be able to just have everything and have full control, but something to consider as far as accessibility. And if it is something you offer, again, promote it. Don't just do it and book it when people are available. The opportunity comes up when the patient's like, oh, when is your next available day? And you say a Friday. They're like, you're open Fridays? I had no idea. Man, I wish you could tell everybody that and then get all your Fridays booked out for the next few months, right? Year. Why not? So yes, being accessible to your patients, making it easy for them to act, and telling them exactly how to act is going to set you up for success to keep them recurring and keep them coming back to your office. And then lastly, you want to enjoy working with loyal patients. And of course you do. You want to have your loyal patients. You want to keep them coming back, and not only keep them coming back, but you want them to tell their friends and family. And when you talk about new patients, I promise you, if you focus on your current patient base and if you nurture them and make it easy for them, and if you're transparent with them and they always have an unmatched experience, your new patients will come in with referrals. And referrals are the best kind of new patients because they are patients that you already have that are like-minded patients. They're going to generate people that are just like them, that you already like. You've already vetted them in a sense. Plus, they're not just coming in for a $99 new patient special, leaving you and going to the next practice that's coming for a $99 patient special. You're losing money more than generating money if you're not focusing on the experience, retaining them, and getting referrals out of them. That is the best model, and that's what we've seen work over and over again, and it's less cost effective. Next Health actually has a stat about being 37% higher retention rate. So if customers referred by the customers have a 37% higher retention rate. I'm going to let that sit in for a second. Customers referred by other customers have a 37% higher retention rate. So and that's just what I talked about. as far as new patient. Hey, if you're a new patient, it's $99 appointment. Or we're going to bonus everybody that comes in, they're a new patient. We're going to give you a gift card, or we're going to give you a new kit, which is great. These are all awesome things to attract new patients. But what happens when they leave? And what happens when you're not focusing on your current patient experience and you're not focused on the current patients you have? Great, you got them. You spent a lot of money to get them there, and now you let them walk out. Now they're not accepting treatment. They're not putting more money into the practice, and you're not as happy because you don't have this loyal patient that's you're excited to see because they've been coming to you for years. You want to make sure you're nurturing these patients, and you will enjoy your job better by banking on new patients to be referrals. Also, 72% of dentists consider generating referrals to be the most significant source for new patient appointments. And this is 1,000% true with our practices, with our clients. We always see the top referral source. We track this, and the top referral source time and time again is new patient referrals. And that's the happiest because, like I said, you're attracting like-minded patients. So if you want that patient, or if you love that patient and you want more people just like them, tell them that. Tell them, hey, I love having you as a patient, and we are accepting new patients, and I would love more people just like you. Would you refer to your friends and family? And I'd really appreciate it. By asking them, they'll say, yes, absolutely. If they say no, it's probably because you probably shouldn't have asked them that, right? But they're going to say yes. They love you. You're the best. They're going to say, yes, absolutely. And then they may not go out and tell everybody right then and there, or they might right then and there and not say it again. But when the conversation gets brought up of this new coworker that moves in and says, you know what? Yeah, it's just crazy. I just moved in, and now I've got to find a hairdresser. I got to enroll the kids to school. We got to find a dentist, a doctor. Blah, blah. Oh, hey, I have a great dentist. Like, I can check one of those off for you. Let me this is their website, or this is their name. You can Google them. And you can book online, and they'll take care of you. Susie's there is the best. Just ask her. Tell her I sent you. Those types of moments will make your dental practice a better experience for your team and for your patients. So referring, and that's how you get new patients, by focusing on your current patient base. So I hope this has helped you guys. And I just want to remind you that new patients are important, but retaining your current ones just as, if not more, important to keep. And you can do that by having an unmatched experience, by having transparent communication and being accessible and making them know that you are accepting new patients so they can refer to their friends and family. I hope this helps, and I really enjoyed the time that I had with you guys. Join me next week with Let's Eat with Abbey. Again, next week's a little different. You have to register because I will be with Jordan Comstock, and we're going to be talking about generating recurring revenue to let you go to the beach. Woo! Because who doesn't want to go to the beach? And then I will keep you guys filled in on what we're doing the week after. But again, you can always usually come on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or LinkedIn Live. And I will be here every Wednesday, 12 p.m., lunchtime. And I encourage you to eat with me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.